Welcome to Informe, a social media conversation for the 14th of May, 2014. I'm Nate Manahan.
And I'm Dustin Hickle.
Today we're going to spend some time talking National Small Business Week and how we're tangibly celebrating that, not just on social media.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. We're giving away donuts. We'll talk about it more on the show. We're also going to talk about Facebook ads and Pinterest ads. Seems a little bit scary, but I think it's going to be a good thing for all of us.
We'll do our infographic of the week, plus a new feature, the question of the week, where we hope you'll answer the question on all the social media platforms. Watch for that right at the end of the show, right here on Informe, a social media conversation. Keep watching. Welcome to Informe. It is midweek's National Small Business Week.
It is,
and,
yes.
We are celebrating. We should have worn our t-shirts.
We should have worn our t-shirt. What were we thinking?
I'm actually wearing a tie. What are the chances of that?
It looked nice.
But National Small Business Week, and we've been doing a hashtag all week, Love Small Biz. We've been getting a little bit of engagement with it, not as much as I would hope. I haven't used it personally the way I should. But the goal has been that we love small businesses. We want small businesses to know that, and we've been trying to do that both on the internet and personally. So what I want to do is let's start with a concept of what have we done that is actually tangible, that is beyond social media, though we're using social media to promote it. What's one of the ideas we put together?
One of our biggest ideas that we worked on, and if you watched, tuned into the live stream, I think it was Monday, maybe, I came in and talked about this a little bit. It's been a lot of fun. We've partnered up with some local donut shops and coffee shops and gone around to 6, 7 small businesses here in our little community in Warsaw, Indiana a day, and just dropped off donuts and gave them a card that said, thank you for doing what you do and making our community great, and here's some donuts and coffee, and like totally unself-promotional. We just go in, we drop off these donuts, we tell them where the donuts are from, where the coffee's from, give those 2 small businesses kind of a push, or like if you ever watch the Colbert Report, the Colbert bump, but it's the paper media bump, and we're just trying to give these small businesses a way to interact with one another, to enjoy each other's coffee and donuts, and to just say thanks, and to just get out there and say, you know what, we love what you do for our community, and it's been a lot of fun. We've had various teams go out and do it. Today I actually wasn't on the trail, but we had some people out there really just tearing it up in the village of Winona. Apparently they had a great time. I know I had a great time the last couple of days. It's been an absolute blast.
And what I love about it is it's the interaction. We can get so focused on Twitter or Facebook or Pinterest being our way of communicating people, and we just need to get off of our butts, get out and walk the streets and talk to people and interact with people and be real people. And so when we can interact and do that in a real way, we created a hashtag, Love Small Biz, but we are actually going out and giving away donuts. We're actually going out, and these people may or may not ever be clients. Some of them have been clients, a lot of them will never be clients, and that is just fine. We're just loving our community. We're glad to be here. We're thankful to be part of the Warsaw community. As we grow, we'll hopefully be part of other communities, and we can interact with them and thank them for what they're doing. But it's National Small Biz Week. Well, let's highlight one small business we really like, and then we'll jump into some news stories on social media.
Okay, all right. Well, this one's pretty easy for me. I think you know exactly which one I'm gonna do. I actually live in Winona Lake, which is just a little town right next to Warsaw. It's kind of all one big thing. But over in the village of Winona, there's a restaurant called Cerulean Restaurant, and they just are so delicious. The food is like almost all locally sourced. It's high end. It's upper scale. And the owner and the vibe that they've tried to create there is just really, while it's really nice and elegant, it's also not pretentious. You can walk in there in jeans and t-shirt and sit down and enjoy a beautiful filet mignon and like whatever you choose to eat, and it's delicious. It's top of the line. These are like professionally trained chefs, professionally trained everything in our little community. That's pretty fun. I really love it. So we'll throw up a link to let people go check out their restaurant.
And if you're watching live right now, which you can do every week when we record these, go search Cerulean Warsaw and maybe follow us on Twitter.
So good.
I'm going to choose, I have several, and I've used it because I've asked this question several times this week. I think for the one this week, I'm going to talk about Spice Merchants. And they are, again, in Village of Winona, but a local one that I like to go to because they have great spices. I love to get my tarragon there. I love to get my garlic there. I do several things that are spiced, but my favorite to get there is their teas. And they just have so many teas that I haven't tried yet. I mean, we're talking 150 to 200. It's local. The people actually know what they're talking about when I walk in. They tell me more about tea than I could possibly know. They always have a sample out to taste, and they're not, it's not going to Walmart to get my spices.
Right.
And nothing against Walmart. There are times I shopped at Walmart last week. There are times when you have to shop at Walmart, the Meijers, the Marshes, the whatever are your stores. But there are certain times it's just great to serve and allow someone to become an expert in spices and teas or specialty foods, and love to watch people excel at what they're good at and become a business and hopefully make money, and I want to support that.
Yeah, and it's really fun to see people's passion. I mean, especially in these small businesses, and as small business owners out there yourself probably, this is you're usually so passionate about what you do. I mean, there's a reason you do what you do. Yes, you want to make a living, but you probably also love it. And like, especially with spice merchants and with Cerulean, you can just tell that there's this love for what they're doing and this passion and desire to be the best out there. And it's really, really cool, really fun to support businesses like that.
Yeah. Well, moving on, I didn't put this in our rundown, but I want to start with this. No one cares about social media posts, and we'll put this in our rundown later. But this is it was a Mashable article originally, is where I found it. The video was put together by someone else. But I thought that the minute-and-a-half video was applicable to small business and social media.
Absolutely.
Because we've become so focused on what can we share. And I'm just as guilty as anyone else. Hey, my kid's just did something cute. Let me get it on Instagram so other people will see it. And there are certain things that I want to share and I want my friends to see and I want us to, but we put this picture and we focus on doing things so we can get to social media sometimes.
Right.
And even small businesses, certainly we need to massage our message. We need to think about what we're putting out there, how people are going to hear about us and think about us and what they're going to be thinking. But if all of our focus becomes how can I get this onto social media, we're going to miss how we can actually serve the customers we have and want to have.
Yeah, I think a lot of that boils down to, and this is just kind of like a little learn about Dustin time, but when I was growing up, on our birthday, my aunt would send us money. She would send us cash and say, you know what, you're not allowed to go out and you're not allowed to go buy donuts or candy. You can't buy a thing with this money. This is money that you can only spend on having an experience, going to do something. We always call it do something money. And I think that applies hugely to social media, because you can take a picture and try to get it set up for social media, but what's really important is the experience that the customer has. Yeah. Those people are spending money with you. They're spending time with you. They're spending energy and effort with you. They're doing something with you. Don't try to get something positioned for a perfect picture on Instagram, because you're not having a relationship or an experience back with them. You really have to focus on, if you're going to put something on social, it needs to be something geared towards having a conversation or experience, or sharing and celebrating the experience that people have with you and your brand is also a great way to go. Sure, you're going to have posts where you're like, we have 15% off our sandwiches today and all that. That's going to happen, and that's a good use of social too. But it's so important to make sure you get off of your cell phone and actually go into your dining room if you're a restaurant and have an experience with people that are there, and then translate that experience to social. It's all about social and experience with people.
Social will have the biggest impact when it comes to digital social, when physical social, I don't know what the way to phrase this in a better way, is the reality that you're living. And if you're actually giving good customer service, giving a good product, if you grab a picture of it, that's great. Yeah. But don't do things so you can get the picture.
Right.
We're always saying, make sure you take a picture. Remember to take a picture. Yeah, do that. There's a balance to it. But at the same time, remember that what your goal is whatever your core competency of your business. And so unless you're a social media business, which some of us are, and you're actually in the job of doing that, but for the most part, most of us have something physical or a service that we're trying to sell. Focus on that, and then allow social media to become a bullhorn or an avenue to communicate what's going on. Yeah. But if you're focusing on the wrong things, it will eventually, step by step by step, you get farther and farther away, and then you're just taking pictures of your kids simply to see how many likes you get. I get that too, because I'll take a picture and I was like, man, that's a really cute picture, and I'll throw it up on Instagram. I was like, how many likes did I get? Oh, no one noticed. Oh shoot! No, and I'm like, one of the things I've tried to do is I want my friends and family to know, and I have my sister, and there are people that are watching my feeds, and I'm glad when they see pictures of my kids. But I take that picture and then I put the phone away and I try not to look back at it, because it's not about whether I get the likes, and if they comment, I'll comment back and things like that. But it's about the interaction, and I think the same thing is true for the business. There's another video out there where it's like, stop looking down at your phone. Yeah. There's a much longer one, but stop focusing as a small business on how you can get to social media, and allow social media just to be a voice and a medium that you're using to express what you're you're already doing.
And to connect with real people.
As we jump into some of the news and social media, not a busy news week in social media, but the goal is of anything we do on Informe, it's about a social media conversation, us talking about how small businesses can use this as a real tool, but don't get focused on it being the only way to communicate with people.
Right. Absolutely.
And certainly, there's a balanced life in anything. You know, you can eat too much sushi, you can eat too much chocolate, you can have
drink
too
much tea.
Yeah. Maybe not. But there is, or coffee as I drink my coffee. There's a balance in all of that. And so as we look at what we're doing in social media, we want people to know that you're going to be more effective if you live more of a whole life. And ultimately what our goal is not to make you the best, Twitter user. We make you the best small business that you can possibly be to reach your goals. And if Twitter is part of that, and we believe it can be, and Facebook can be part of that, and Pinterest and Instagram and Snapchat and whatever else is available in the digital social media field, we want to help you do that.
Yes.
But let's start with being good at what we're good at.
Yeah.
That's your core competency.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about those things. But let's talk what's going on in their world. Facebook, jumping the gun finally, and we're going to see some video ads.
Yeah. Not surprising.
Yeah.
Not surprising by any means. They're expensive, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. First of all, this is the reason I chose this story is because I think it's a big story about what is going to happen with Facebook, and especially their news feed. But you and I are not going to be buying. I can go out and buy Facebook ads right now and put an ad. I could put a personal ad up. Hey, watch my Informe show, and for $10 I could jump in. I'm not jumping in for $10 into Facebook video ads. We're talking millions to be able to jump in, and they signed their inked deal with NBC Universal.
NBC, yeah. So this is a really interesting article for small business, for you guys in small business. This isn't something that you're actually going to be able to take and do yourself, just like we said. But like you said before, this is a sign of things kind of to come on Facebook. We always say to keep your eye out for the best social network and where your target audience is. And this has, in my opinion, a chance to maybe push some people away from Facebook if it's not done really tastefully.
Yeah, if Facebook, and obviously their partners, whoever those are, in this case it's NBC Universal, if they do it well, what it might do is mean if you are posting a video as your brand, it may become that Facebook becomes more interactive with video. I mean, obviously video has been there. It's not something that's unusual. I wonder what will happen. And at this point, it's really just a series of questions. We haven't seen it in the wild. It was tested on some feeds through Lionsgate video earlier in the year. I never saw it. They haven't said how much interaction they had. I never saw it in my feed, so I missed it. I do know that when I see the auto playing videos on my feed when I jump into Facebook, I'm a little creeped out sometimes, especially if I have too many in a row. So we'll see. We'll see what all jumps in. It's something to be aware of, because I think video is so important as part of our arsenal of telling our story. And how we do that and where we put it, whether it's on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, and Google Plus, and all the other entities that can have, a link through Pinterest or whatever. We'll see what Facebook does.
Absolutely.
Just watch it. Check it out.
And we'll keep our eyes on it for you too. We'll keep our eyes on it and find out, see how it's doing, if there's a big pushback to it. Because we might actually, as small business owners, learn from this that video is going to be really, really successful on Facebook. That might be the outcome. And if that is the outcome, we want to be sure we pass that information on to you so that you can use it and maximize your time on Facebook.
Well, and talking about ads, this is something that does provide an opportunity for small businesses is Pinterest, which we have always been high on Pinterest. We always talk about how Pinterest drives more e-commerce than any other site. It's certainly not the biggest site. It's not the most visited site. But those who go there and interact with Pinterest end up spending more money on the products and brands they use. And it's because of the way it's used. They're finally going to start monetizing, which is good for those who have invested in, they've raised, I forget, they have an evaluation.
$52
$562 million of venture capital.
$562, man.
$1 million of investments. So those people who have invested them want to start seeing that money come because they've not made a penny yet.
Yeah, just waiting.
So they're going to start selling ads. We've known this is coming. It's out in the wild now. I have not done anything with it yet. I know that we can start doing that. We may look at that in some time.
This is an awesome opportunity for small business owners. For you guys to get out there and to just say, you know what, most of my traffic or most of the people that come to my website or a lot of my buyer persona is on Pinterest. This is a great opportunity for you to try to get in their feed by paying for ads.
So I would start watching, because at this point, they haven't opened, and I think they will in the next few weeks officially for any of us to jump in. It's the big brands that are in there. The listed here are the Gap, the Kraft, the Targets that are jumping in. So it's obviously the big names. They're spending some big dollars. As long as as Pinterest manages it so it's done tastefully, and those who are doing it doesn't ruin the experience, then this can go really smoothly.
Absolutely.
And will provide an opportunity for small businesses. And as we celebrate National Small Business Week this week, there are 28 million of these businesses that can go onto the Pinterest. And it shows how much power we have as a group of small businesses.
Yeah.
Because Facebook, Twitter, they focus whole units on making sure that we have ad buys. And I think Pinterest is going to do the same because they realize those who are running, stores through Etsy, or they're doing something on Amazon, or they're running smaller stores and retail locations, they're selling a lot because of Pinterest. And Pinterest wants to be able to sell ads to them.
Absolutely.
We're going to see some great things. So watch it. I'm not. Pinterest has been so tasteful of how they've done it. They don't scare me yet. Maybe it's just my naivete and that I haven't used Pinterest as much as I should have. But at the same time, when they say they're going to start putting ads in, that doesn't scare me. When Facebook starts putting extra ads in and runs another ad, I'm like, what could happen?
Absolutely.
I'm afraid of exactly how they implement it. Pinterest.
We don't want another MySpace on our hands.
Oh, have mercy, no. So, exactly what MySpace will do is it'll fail to succeed over years, and it'll be gone. So.
Right. So we're hoping that, obviously, like you said, I think Pinterest, this is a really good move for them. I don't think anybody's worried about it because, there have been ads in our Pinterest feed already, and you almost wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
You almost wouldn't even know they were there. We've seen tests. Have we seen a test ad on our Pinterest?
We've seen a few test ads. They've been rolling them out very slowly.
I was going to say I think we've actually maybe experienced one. But they're going to be great. No worries here. Keep using Pinterest. Don't go away from it just because of some ads.
Let's jump into Twitter. Twitter, obviously one of my favorite places. And let's talk Twitter. New option when you're on iOS or Android. You can actually sign in and you can mute someone. You can follow them and they no longer appear in your timeline. I think this is huge. I think it'll here's what I think it'll do. Because I've already muted someone because I wanted to see how it worked.
It was me, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't you.
Okay.
But it was someone that you would know. But it's going to cause us as brands to make sure that what we say is actually hitting our buyer persona, because they can follow us and just turn us off and just pretend that they're following us, and we want to actually provide real value to them. And the same thing is true for people too. And so it's all about us providing quality content, which has been true on Facebook, because Facebook a long time did an algorithm. And Twitter at this point doesn't have an algorithm. That you're going to see the live feed of what's going on. You can now control and not, tick someone off that you didn't.
Absolutely.
So
this article, it's the Verge article. It was interesting. It started out, saying, you're going to offend somebody if you unfollow them, but maybe they're really irritating. And all they do is check into Foursquare and share that to Twitter. Like, that's irritating. You don't want to see that in your feed, so you can unfollow them. And it's really convenient for us as users, not necessarily as brands, but us as users. That's a really great feature. Like you said, though, you can get a little bit concerned that people will start to mute your business.
And I wonder if I think the greatest democracy of Twitter is that people still choose when it comes to brands, whether they follow or unfollow. It's the unfollow. They'll just unfollow you. Because you don't get a notice, hey, you got 7 unfollowers. You can go and use systems and figure out who's unfollowed you and why they've unfollowed you, maybe. But you just see your number fluctuating each day. You're at 520 and you're at 535, and then you're at 532, and then you're at 527, and then you're up at 550, and it just kind of fluctuates back and forth. Both reasons of that being spam accounts being pulled out and people just following and unfollowing, choosing they don't want to have your content. I don't know if it'll be interesting to see, will people mute brands and try to pretend that they're following? I don't think people are that loyal to brands. I think to people, as me, they use the excuse, I don't really want to follow my boss, but I have to because my whatever boss, I don't want him to know I'm not going to follow him, and I want him when he clicks on my page to see, oh, this person follows you. I can then mute him. He doesn't ever know that. And that's not case specific in our boss. This was the article is sharing. So,
absolutely.
I think that it absolutely is a usable feature. I don't know if it affects brands, but I think it's hopefully it's going to increase Twitter. And where everybody's worried, is Twitter growing? Is Twitter, we talked about that last week. Watch last week's shows. We talked about it. The conversations are happening on Twitter.
Yes.
And what I find really interesting is when National Small Business Week's out, and there's a lot of conversation going on Facebook, but the majority of the conversation, people go to Twitter for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
It's the live tweet of events. It's the live activity. What's happening now? That's what Twitter is. And so that's where you jump in. Like you say all the time, that's where we need to jump into Twitter. And now we can mute the people that we just don't want to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool feature. Really useful personally, probably more than professionally. But yeah, and hey, I'm just going to take a minute here and just say, hey, if you guys are out there watching this show, we talked about this earlier, and I wanted to slide this in, but we want to have a conversation with you. We talked about making sure that what you do with brands is having an experience and having a conversation. And we want to have that with you guys. We want to talk. So let us know what you think of that new feature. Let us know what you think of the latest ads on Pinterest so that we can have a conversation. We'd love to talk with you guys about it one-on-one through Twitter, just like you just said. Pull it all together.
We're going to do 2 more articles today. We're just going to do, we're going to jump, first Twitter, there was a great article I'm going to jump off of about by BuzzFeed, about how people use the favorite feature on Twitter. We'll probably talk about that in our after show. But we are going to jump to the things. There's 5 ways you can have social engagement. And I just lost, there we go.
5 ways you can have social engagement.
And this is 5 ways to increase engagement with your target audience. I had to find the article. And this is by a guy named jeffboulis.com, and it was written by Kate Prince. Here's 5 things. I don't know if you got the chance to look over this.
Yeah, I looked at a couple of these, 5 ways to increase engagement with your target audience. So this is as practical as we get. 5 things that you can actually do today or tomorrow to increase engagement with your target audience. I preach on the first one a lot.
Yep.
You have to know what platform they're on. You know, if you're selling a product that's geared towards someone like me, I'm probably on Facebook, I'm probably on Twitter, and I am on Google Plus and on Instagram. Now, granted, I'm on a variety of platforms, but if you're going towards someone younger than me, you might have people on Vine, you might have people on Snapchat, you might have people on Twitter, and fewer people on Facebook. If you're skewing a little bit older, they might be on Facebook, they might be on Pinterest. Yep. It's really important to make sure that you, number 1, define who exactly you're trying to target with your product, and number 2, find out where that buyer persona is, what social media platform they're actually on.
Yeah, I like number 3, time is money beyond the money. I think the fact is a lot of times we end up spending more money than we realize because we spend so much time and we get to the end of the product and we go, oh, we got 3 sales and that equal numbers, that was $3,000 worth of income that came in because of those 3 sales. But then we forget to how much time it took to get those 3 sales, and that our time is actually connected to money. Right. Now with social media, it's not going to happen overnight, and so you have to realize that you're going to be months and months, if not a year plus, really building a community, jumping in, engaging, and finding out who and how you're going to engage with a group of people that can eventually be customers. However, at the end of that, evaluating how that it actually is making money for you is so important. And if you've been writing ebooks and your engagement is minimal, and you're actually seeing so few sales, and you've been doing it for 2 years, a year, whatever that number is, then maybe you need to reevaluate. And that's the beauty about digital media, the beauty about social media is you can change your path quickly and fairly smoothly, and without too much of, oh, look, I screwed up. You don't have to say it, you just do it.
Yeah, you just make the change.
Time is money beyond the money. I liked that they used a quote about the Daily Telegraph or Supercoach. Read this article. This is a good...
really great article.
So we'll let you read the rest of them here as we wrap up. But social is a two-way street.
We've been talking about that a lot.
We talk about all this stuff. Yeah. It's a good article. I like linking to other people's articles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we'll keep interacting with as many people as we find. I'm always looking for someone who's outside. We could find and do a whole show just on Mashable articles. And they do a great job, and that's fine. And they do their own show just on Mashable articles, and we like to find it. But I love to find that there's new people out there that are giving us different content.
Yes.
And this one, he has 638 tweets, this website, and this isn't one we've used before, so I was glad to find something a little different.
Yeah, he's actually really, really... apparently really popular in the social media world. One of our content writers really loves to follow his blog, and that's a really great article. So nothing to go off of there. We're going to go to the infographic, and then we'll wrap it up. How about that? We're going to talk about Instagram. We haven't talked about Instagram in really hardly any of our other articles today, so we're going to talk about that for our infographic. This is just straight up 15 Instagram stats that you probably didn't know. Again, something that you can take, that you can learn, you can look at, read the data, try to figure out and understand what it means for you personally, but that you can actually put into place right away. Really, really simple infographic, lots of really great information. Let's see, the busiest day ever for Instagram was Thanksgiving/Hanukkah in 2013. That was the busiest day that they've ever had on Instagram. Probably because people went home and took pictures with their family and were celebrating holidays. And it's
and when those two holidays came together at the same time, which only happens, I forget, it's a huge amount of time, I don't remember exactly, but that many people were interacting because of those two holidays coming together. You could see why people interacted that way, and took a lot of pictures.
Yeah. There's also an increase in likes if the dominant color in your image is blue. It goes up 24% in the people interacting with your post. Don't really know why. People just must have this subconscious sort of a attraction to the color blue, which makes sense. Ocean, sky, beautiful things.
Yeah.
Get a lot of attraction.
Well, that's where you can become extremely strategic in how you share it. I think Instagram is just becoming more and more powerful because people, this stat that people spend, those who are following you on Instagram check it multiple times a day, 35% of them. So that means they sit down and 3, 4, 5, I'm sure it decreases, but at least 1 out of every 3 people that are following you are going to check more than once that day.
Yep.
So that means you need to have multiple posts. And what I don't see, and I'm interested in the stat, how many does the average person follow? And this doesn't have that.
Doesn't have that. I'm interested in that stat.
I'd be interested in knowing like how much. I think I follow like 60 people on Instagram. It's a much smaller list. There are less people on it, but not that many less. I mean, there's still 120, 130 million. I think I don't remember what.
Right up there, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think it says. I think this infographic: monthly active Instagram users 150 million. Look at the infographic we're using. So there, I mean, it's not an incredibly small, but it's small compared to Facebook.
Right.
Proportionately, I think I probably it might be about the right proportion now. Think of it. I say things live, and I'm like,
I know that I personally tend to interact on Instagram more than I do on Facebook and even maybe Twitter, because it's real simple, it's real intuitive. I can go through and I can see who posted it, the picture, double tap on it if I think it's a sweet picture, or if it's someone that I want to stay connected with, or someone because it is a smaller community, but also because it's so visual and so fast. I mean, you're literally just kind of swiping up your phone, swiping down the screen, and you can just double click on things that you think, and then you're done, and you've liked something, and you've seen it, and you've got a snapshot of that picture in your head.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, especially if people are checking it multiple times a day, to make sure that you get your picture, your image, in front of them for just that brief moment, so they get that capture, because our brains are incredible. We capture images like nothing. Like you said, get on there multiple times a day. Make sure that you have posts there that look like, I guess the color should be mostly blue according to this infographic.
Good shirt choice today.
Thank you.
We are going to get much more following. Could you Instagram this for us, Jimmy? Because he's wearing blue. I didn't know.
That's okay. That's all right. We just learned that.
I know.
But yeah, I think this is a really great infographic. Check it out. Really great stats. And then use it, because Instagram is really powerful.
Yeah, and we're going to keep following more people and interacting with more people. And I was just thinking, right now, I checked my Instagram feed just before we went on the show. I was sitting near your desk, and I was looking through, and I found something. I can think through. I probably looked at 30 pictures that I hadn't looked at yet, and I can think through myself 5 of them that I remember right now. I'm interested in you. When was the last time you looked at Instagram?
Probably yesterday, towards the end of the day.
Okay. And what pictures do you remember from those posts?
I remember some things about what my sister posted, something my little brother posted, Paper Media's post, a couple people here at Paper Media. So I probably remember 5 or 6.
Because I'm wondering, okay, the next study I'd like to know is what makes you think about it again? And what drives you when you see that image? Because the beauty of Instagram is it's quick, it's easy, you get past it, you hit the heart, you might make a comment, and then you never see it again because it's driven down unless someone directs a comment and you get a message to you. How do we make someone think about it? Like, I'm thinking about a couple of the pictures, and one of them's a brand that I mentioned, and I was trying to find more information about they put a post about a new conference they were going to do, and I couldn't find information about it, but I thought the picture, it drew me in, it was interesting, it was something that we were interested in. It would be a next study for us is how do we actually help them think about it when they're not looking at it, because that's really the goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then to cause that call to action to go do something else and look for it. So just things to look about. We're going to start. If you have a way that you're using Instagram and it is just making sure a huge community, that it's getting people to interact, and it's ultimately ending up in sales. We'd love to know how you're doing it, how are you using it.
Absolutely.
Because what I've seen I see a person that does artwork through their jewelry, and she does really well with Instagram, and she's seeing lots of sales. And I'm watching how people are actually driving sales by that. We talked about this recently, where they put, hey, you can find my link, because you can't link through the comment section, but making sure that sales link is up in your profile, and you can make that a different link every time and say, hey, link is in the profile, link is in the profile.
Yep.
I like that a lot. I like how people are being creative in how they're using it, but still keeping it simple. And I kind of like that Instagram's not allowing, it's just siloed. It's kind of there. And if you want to put it out, you can push it out to Twitter and Facebook, and they can interact there, and there's a much more streamed and nuanced approach to it. However, on Instagram, it is Instagram, and I love the app.
Yeah, me too. So if you don't have it or you're not on it, get on it.
And Instagram put out an iPad version. I just recently became an iPad user, and wow, beautiful. I don't have my iPad on me, but I love my iPad, and I would love to be able to look at the Instagram photos in full res on my iPad. Yeah. So, I understand why they don't, kind of, because they like to be on the phones, but an iPad is a mobile device.
I guess so.
I don't know. Because I have Instagram on my iPad, and I've been using it sometimes, and I'm like, oh, but it just doesn't look as good, because they stretch it out to fit the screen instead of making it full, the beauty that can be the iPad. All right. This has been Informe. Each week we sit down, we talk about social media, and we try to apply it, make it as applicable to small business as we possibly can. How you can help us is you can tweet at us, you can interact with us, you can interact with me at NK Manahan.
At Dustin Hickle on Twitter, but you can also find me on Google+. We can circle up there.
We can find Salcha at Salcha and across all the platforms. If you look for Salcha, S-A-L-T-S-H-A, and of course we link that up. JT, when he edits this, if you're watching this in post, he always does a great job helping us connect with people through our lower thirds. Yep. We'd love to hear from you. And one of the things I think we're going to start doing is seeing if we can get people to respond to one final question at the end of the day.
Interesting.
And I'm just coming up with this idea.
Okay, I'm ready.
And I'm taking this, I'm going to give credit to where credit's due. There's a podcast I listen to, it's an audio podcast. It's called The Relevant Podcast every week. And they have the editorial comment of the week, or question of the week. And they do this, and they have a jingle that goes along to it, and then they have ask people to engage and answer that question. So you can engage with us by emailing us through salcha.com. You can find, I think, our main email is info@salcha.com. I don't even know that. Yeah. You can, but what we really want is engage with us on Twitter, NK Manahan, Dustin Hickle, or Salcha. Or you can go to Google+. However you want to, just answer this question. Here's the question. This week, if you could only use one tool of social media, or one platform, you had to turn all the others off, and you could only do it for 1 week, which one would it be? I'd like to know.
That's a great question.
And so you can engage with us, Facebook, Twitter, use the platform that you would use, and tell us, hey, this is what we do, and we know that you're listening. And each week we're going to start coming, we have our infographic of the week, and we're going to have our question of the week.
Beautiful.
We try to drive a little engagement at the end.
That'll be fun.
All right. This has been another Informe, and we're so glad you joined us. Keep watching. Join us again, and thanks for watching.